the Cowboys in the last 30 years nearly have certainly underachieved. You know, they were the best team in the 90s with those three Super Bowl wins. I mean, surely this is their time, right? This is the best chance they've had in a long time. This is it.
When you play for the Cowboys, the pressure is always on. And it's always on in the postseason because that's what they're chasing, Super Bowl champions. That's what America's team is all about. That's what Jerry Jones is constantly talking about. So it is their time. Mike McCarthy has had success in the regular season. They have a good record. Dak Prescott is playing his best football ever. This defense can get after you. They have one of the best players in the National Football League in Micah Parsons, who can wreck an entire game. So yeah, it feels like this is it for them. They have to go far in the playoffs, and they definitely have to be one game away from the Super Bowl. If it's nothing less than that, there is a problem in Dallas.
Yeah, and after they beat the Eagles, and obviously the Eagles lost to the 49ers in that kind of same couple of weeks, they completely fell off. I mean, they were 10-1 and finished 11-5. Do you think
Yeah.
that matters now they're in the playoffs, or do you think they're going to continue to play the football they were in the first half of the season?
For the Eagles?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this is big. You do not want to be playing like this going into the playoffs. You want to be at your best as a team, as an individual, as a coach. Like you want to be calling the best plays. You want to be playing your best ball as a player. So yeah, this is something to be concerned because in the NFL, you just can't turn on a switch. Like it doesn't work like that. You have to be rolling. You have to have momentum. And right now it's not on their side.
And you're saying about how, this is the best team and Dak Prescott's playing the best football. He's in line for obviously a big extension, which he deserves based on this season. But should they not make the Super Bowl, do you think this would be deemed a failure? And would they potentially have to rethink him if he doesn't quite do it in another postseason?
It will be deemed a failure because that's the ultimate goal. And that's what their ownership structure always pushes and the fans always push. But for Dak, it won't. I mean, where are you going to go? Who are you going to get? It's not like you can go get a guy like that off a shelf. So he will still be their quarterback. They're going to have to pay him. He has played like one of the top quarterbacks. And regardless of what we think about the money, this is what quarterbacks get paid. And he will be one of the top ones and the top paid ones again, just because. So it will be a failure, but he will still be highly compensated.
And there's a bit more pressure as well. I mean, Dan Quinn, the defensive coordinator, has been interviewed for some roles now. There's now 8 coaching vacancies. I mean, Bill Belichick, that they've just announced that he's going to be parting ways with the Patriots. I'm sure you've seen that, which is crazy. I mean, Belichick, Nick Saban, and Pete Carroll within like 24 hours is, unprecedented times. So
a lot happening.
yeah. So with him, I mean, I don't know if he'll take it. Obviously, he's got a great role at the Cowboys and he's doing really, really well. Is there more pressure on them to deliver while they have him? Should he seek that head coaching role?
Yeah, that is the issue is the coaching brain drain. You see it. You saw this happen in Philadelphia. Why are they struggling? They lost both their coordinators. And you see the impact on the way they're performing. So that would be a significant factor for the Cowboys if they lost Dan Quinn and that entire staff on the defensive side, because they're going to go with him. Like all those assistant coaches that he has who are in there daily teaching these guys technique and how to go out there and execute, they're going to go with Dan Quinn. So right now, if you're Dallas, you're lucky because you got 2 coaches with 2 play callers with head coach experience. So game management things and that kind of stuff is significant as the game's going on. They're able to help each other. So that would be a big concern. And that's why they're a hot ticket right now and they need to take advantage of that.
So that's the Cowboys now. I mean, they're known as America's team, the most supported team, the most backed team, that, huge revenue comes in for them. I just wondered, you went undrafted in 2001 to the Cowboys. And I just wondered, seeing as it was, 6 years after they won the Super Bowl the last time, what was it like when you joined? Like, what was the culture like there? And what were the expectations for all the players being on that roster?
Well, I came in and Emmitt Smith and Darren Woodson were there. Larry Allen was there. Guys that had won Super Bowls, been on that team. So you felt that. You felt that greatness. I remember Michael Irvin coming into the locker room and you'd hear him talking just in awe of who these people were. So for a young person, I understood how to go about my business because they were there, how to prepare, how to be a professional. So that was great. That helped me throughout my career. But you do look at those trophies and you come in and you think, oh, I'm a Cowboy, I've made it, we're great. And we hadn't done anything, a lot of us. So we weren't going to just get wins because they had Super Bowl trophies on the wall and I was playing with Emmitt Smith. So that part I definitely understood the culture and it was great, but I did not inherit the winning culture that they had. They had a lot of things going on when I was there with salary caps because they were still paying Troy Aikman and Deion Sanders and all that. And I think Michael Irvin. So they didn't have a lot of money. That's how I made the team. Luckily enough, a lot of young players had to. But I, as an individual, learned so much because those guys were there. And I also learned a lot about when you have an owner that is invested, really like Jerry Jones was, it was comforting. He was around, he talked to you, he had an influence in a lot of things that were going on, and you could tell that he cared, and he was willing to spend to do whatever needed to be done to make us comfortable. So that was cool. I learned a lot with that. I didn't learn how to win a lot, but I learned how to prepare. But things have definitely changed over there.
What did Jerry Jones say to you, when you joined? He said he was, I mean, he was, general manager as well, so very invested. What was he like with the guys? What did he say? When you joined, what was his expectations from you, and how did he, communicate with you?
Well, I wasn't really a significant part of the cog when I first got there. I just kind of came out of nowhere and made the team. I do remember him talking to me as I would make plays for them on the team. And, he was just well aware of what I was doing, especially on special teams. I was out there making a name for myself, making plays, and he would just congratulate you on things. He would talk to you about plays you made. I mean, I remember him coming up to me after a practice, telling me how better I looked and those kind of things. I can see this or I can see that. So yeah, it just felt like he knew what I was doing. First of all, I felt like he knew who I was when I wasn't supposed to be that important of a player. But yeah, he knew what I was doing. And I remember when I went to Houston, he had to let me go. And then I went to Houston the next day. He looked at me and he said, I just know this is going to be a mistake. He said, I was smiling and thanking him for giving me the opportunity to play in the NFL as he was letting me go. And he was just looking at me like, see, it's that smile, like, I'm just going to regret this. And I was like, Jerry, thank you. Like you gave me a shot. I'm in this league and I know I can play because I'm here and you gave me this opportunity. So I vividly remember him smiling like that. And every time I'd seen him after that, he just was always so welcoming, him and his sons, just friendly and never forgot me.
So a lot of respect there. Was that the same, with your teammates and the whole roster? Was he kind of seen as this big figure that everyone wanted to play for and do well for?
It had to be different for all kind of people, but I think what was significant is I saw a lot of people have relationships with him. A lot of guys I knew could go right into his office and ask him questions, or if they had concerns, go talk to him directly, and that was cool. That doesn't happen everywhere, but I feel like there was an open door policy for some players back then. I wasn't a person that could do that, but I knew guys that could, and that was very unique. I mean, he's one of the only owners. You call him Jerry. A lot of owners are Mr. This or that or Mrs. That, but it was just Jerry. Hey, Jerry, and that's really cool. You just felt like you felt like he was one of the guys, but he was the guy.
Yeah.
I really appreciate what Jerry Jones has done for the NFL. He has stood up on that mantle and always made sure you were talking about the Cowboys, always made sure you were talking about a storyline in the NFL. And the growth of the game only comes because of pioneers like that.
And obviously he's a bit older now. Do you think he's still, as hands-on now, maybe a bit less, but do you still think he operates that same role and tries to keep up those relationships with the current roster?
Yeah, I still think he's aware of everything. I mean, obviously his son is going to take over, Steven, and he's done a great job. But yeah, Jerry's he's involved. He's in the office. He's there. He's the general manager, by title. So yeah, I mean, I could see Jerry being involved in everything and knowing everything that's going on. He seems to really enjoy it, and that's cool. That passion he has for the game is what makes the Dallas Cowboys America's team.
And you said obviously when you came in, unfortunately, I guess the wins weren't there, but you could still see, the trophies and success recently. It's been a while since then. So are the players still aware of how big, the Cowboys are and how much expectation they need to give to the fans? Or do you think that's kind of been lost over, 20, 30 years?
That's never been lost. Every time you play for that star, you know the pressure's on because everybody's watching. I mean, everybody watches the Dallas Cowboys. When I was playing there, everybody knew I was in the NFL. When I went to Houston for the majority of my career, some people were like, "Hey, where do you play again? Do you still play in the NFL?" It was a difference, because everybody watched the Cowboys. So it's the benefit of playing there. I mean, if you're the Cowboys quarterback, how many national commercials do you have? A lot immediately. And it comes along with that pressure. So that's why Dak is so under pressure. We're always talking about him. Other quarterbacks that don't play as well as him, you never hear about like that. They're never critiqued in the same way. When Dallas is playing well, it's great for the NFL. When Dallas isn't playing well, it's a conversation that's always had that's great for the NFL because it's in the national media. So yeah, it comes along with the standard of playing in Dallas, and it's set from the top in ownership.
So it all starts with the Packers. Controversially as my team, but I'm not really having too many high hopes. But they said there's going to be a whiteout game and a huge game. The storylines with Mike. Um, how do you think that's going to play out? Do you think it's going to be obviously it's never straightforward in the playoffs or the NFL, but they've got to win that one, right?
Yeah, they got to win that one. It's tough because Jordan Love is playing his best football right now. I mean, you got a young quarterback with a ton of young receivers that can run all around, and he is playing his best right now. We were talking earlier about Philadelphia not being at their best. You got a team coming in with a quarterback that is right now peaking. That's always dangerous. Dallas is a better team in my estimate, but you better go out there and recognize and prepare for all these young receivers and Jordan Love because they are going to test your secondary. So it should be very interesting.
And should they make the Super Bowl, which I hope. I've got a lot of friends that are Cowboys fans, and I think it would be good for the NFL. It'd be good for America if they could go and win that first one in Vegas. I mean, what a statement that would be. Would that be up there with one of the best?
It has to be, right? First, if Dallas gets there, it's chaos. It's going to be unbelievable. It's going to be fantastic. And I think people that don't necessarily understand the strength of the star will know it then. The light will go off. They'll be like, "Oh wow, okay, this is what it means to be a Cowboys fan and to be winning." So yeah, it would be unbelievable and it will be fitting, right? Las Vegas, I mean, everything you can have. I mean, the glitz, the glamour, I mean, Jerry Jones in Vegas, geez, it'd be amazing.
Written in the star, right? It
Oh,
could
it would
be.
be fantastic.
And if they make it there, the Ravens got the number one seed, Lamar Jackson playing potentially MVP level. We'll see. Who do you think they would face? Do you think the Ravens would go all the way, or they have the curse of the bye, or the Chiefs are always in the conversation regardless of how they played this season?
I think the Ravens will go all the way, but you're right about the Chiefs. They're in the conversation, and it's going to be a battle. It's not going to be easy, but I think they're the best team. I think the way Lamar's playing, he wins the moments, and that's what you need in the playoffs. That's what you need against good teams. When we know what you're going to do, we know how to stop you schematically. Can you win the moment? And that's Lamar Jackson right now. That's why he's the MVP. So I want to see him against whoever the best is in the NFC who makes it there, but I don't think anybody else can beat Baltimore as long as they stay healthy. The defense is causing havoc. They're fast because their linebackers can move around fast, and that makes your defense fast. They got playmakers. They're getting healthy because they set some guys who were banged up. So I don't know who will beat them. It's gonna be a rough ride though. Like you said, I mean, it's gonna be competitive. I mean, KC could get hot. They got a good defense. They got Patrick Mahomes. They can win some battles, some close games, and accidentally we look up and we're like, oh my gosh, Kansas City's in the Super Bowl. That could happen without a doubt. But right now, I'm rolling with Baltimore.
I feel like maybe the wild card team or the underdog that could surprise a few in the AFC is going to come from the Browns and Texans, like
Yep,
from that way.
could,
Obviously,
couldn't
Houston
agree more.
yeah, Houston's a former team of yours, CJ Stroud, going to the playoffs in his rookie year. It's obviously a success for him personally, regardless. But you know, out of those two teams, who do you think has the better shot?
So I'm going with the Texans because I'm going with my heart and I'm going with CJ Stroud and I'm just rolling with that because it is so close. And the Browns defense doesn't play the same on the road. They haven't been, not meaning they can't tighten it up and figure it out. But I mean, Flacco's giving them life, but it's high risk, high reward a little bit. So if you can get some turnovers and play keep away, maybe that works out. But you're right. If that wild card team in the NFC is the same way, wild card teams could come in and cause some serious damage. I'm leaning towards the Texans because I'm going with my heart. I'd love to see CJ Stroud and this team advance and continue to just shock everybody. It shows you what you can do when you have a cultural shift with the head coach, D'Amico Ryans. He's obviously brought in that defense he got from San Francisco. They don't play as well, but they're getting there. And what I mean as well, it just takes time to learn a defense and understand all the nuances. And then CJ Stroud, I mean, what else can you say? I mean, this guy's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL today. There is no what's going to happen in the future or he's showing improvement. No, today, right now, this guy's playing at an elite level. So let's see how far he can get this ride this year.